I had a supervisor grab me and kiss me, and he wanted to engage in a lot more than that, and I refused.
The initial prediction was that around 1,500 women might file claims, but now the legal team says that number could hit 4,000. And to put that in perspective, since the force first opened its doors to female officers in 1974, about 20,000 women have worked for the RCMP. So 4,000 claimants would represent 1 in 5 women who've worked there. Dave Seglins is part of the CBC News investigative team that broke this story.
1974, the year the RCMP first allowed women to become frontline police officers. A bold march into a male-dominated profession. Many women who signed up, and in the decades since, were met by some men who were hostile, sexist, even abusive.
I would say within the first year, my perception of the RCMP changed.
This former IT specialist says she was forced to take medical leave from the Mounties after years of her boss hitting on her. She still fears him, so we've agreed to conceal her identity.
I loved the work I was doing, but the relationship with the supervisor was very difficult, and because I refused the advances, there was then bullying and intimidation and mocking me in front of people afterwards, and that went on for many years.
She's now one of many women on the RCMP coming forward alleging harassment. Emboldened by the Me Too movement, lawyers expect as many as 4,000 to file claims for compensation, all part of an RCMP class action settlement that included this apology.
I stand humbly before you today and solemnly offer our sincere apology. We hurt you. For that, I'm truly sorry.
This former RCMP inspector helped spearhead the class action.
I've received, since yesterday, I'd say approximately 30 calls.
She's now helping others file their claims, many women still on the force, who say little has changed.
New blood is always welcome.
This class action is uncovering all sorts of ugly history.
What do you think of this?
CBC has obtained a letter found in the mailboxes of some women at the RCMP who spoke up, a so-called hurt feelings report. Mockingly, it asks if the recipient is a crybaby or worse.
Boy, do we have a long way to go. Disgusting. Whether it was 5 years ago, it's 5 years in the future, or it's now, there's no place for this in the workforce.
The RCMP won't comment on the hurt feelings report, but says it has begun a number of initiatives to improve the workplace. But the force won't say whether that includes specific training to combat sexual harassment. Dave Seglin, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, the initial settlement amount was $100 million, but as more women file claims, the government has said that amount will go up. For women who wish to be a part of the settlement, the application process, though, it is long and it's detailed. It includes a 33-page claim form asking women to detail dates, times, witnesses, whether it was reported, who it was reported to, and the psychological or physical repercussions. Now, we have Megan McPhee joining us right now, a lawyer based here in Toronto who's representing one of the plaintiffs who has launched the class action lawsuit. Megan, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
First of all, on a human level, what I'm interested to know is how difficult a process this must be to go through, because my understanding is that questionnaire actually has a trigger warning on it.
It does, and for the women that we've been speaking with, they've talked about it takes a very long time to come to terms with being ready to file a claim and then to describe their experiences in putting that claim together. Sometimes it means reliving the trauma that they experienced, and in some cases it means that they're having to go out and seek professional support while they're putting these claims together, and that's why we're seeing the backup and so many contacting us just in the last few weeks.
And do some of the claimants still work for the RCMP?
I think a significant portion of the claimants do still work for the RCMP, and that's why these confidentiality protections that are part of the claim are so important to protect claimants coming forward.
So who decides ultimately, A, whether a claimant is eligible in the first place, and B, how much compensation they're entitled to?
So we have an assessor who's been court appointed. It's former Supreme Court Justice who reviews and determines the claims. And the criteria and the amounts are set out, and they form part of the settlement process that's been approved by the court. So we've got a range of levels of compensation ranging from $10,000 for level 1 to $220,000 for level 2.
It's structured in that way. It's itemized that if you've endured this level of harassment or abuse, this is what you're entitled to.
Yes, if you meet certain criteria that have been approved by the court and certain effects, then you're falling within this range of 1 to 6 levels.
And ultimately, what are claimants looking for in this process?
I think claimants are looking to have their stories heard. So they want to come forward in a confidential, safe space to share their stories of what happened to them while they were in the RCMP. And we're looking for change, where the class action process is such a strong vehicle for change. They're looking to make the RCMP a safe place for women to serve.
Megan McPhee, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.